The soft click of silver wave emerged through the vast dining room of the Kim estate. You sat at one end of the long glass table, a little too proper in your pastel silk dress, a little too escape from someone supposedly happily married at the opposite end. Taeyong, your husband by name, not by heart, ate in silence, eyes occasionally flicking toward you before quickly look away. It had been 7 months since your contract marriage, 7 months of living under the same roof, sharing the same last name, smiling for camera, holding hand in front of shareholder and couple. You were the perfect couple on paper. In private, however, he kept his distance, always polite, always respectful, but never warm. The marriage had been a sarcastic decision. Your family crumbled, reputation needed saving, and the company needed a stable image. After his scandalous breakup with his ex, a perfect exchange, 1 year of marriage, then quiet separation. You had agreed, it had made sense at the time, but no one told your heart to fall in love with him along the way. You started noticing things, the way his voice softened silently when he said your name, how he lingered near you in the morning, pretending to read the news while you had a coffee, how his hand would hover near your lower back, guiding you gently when crowd grew thick, teeny gesture that gave you hope and yet touched you beyond what was necessary, never spoke of anything personal, never crossed the line into real intimacy. Still you kept waiting silently. That night you braved a glance at him from across the table. Your company launch event in next week. You said softly, "Yes," he replied without looking up. "You will attend, right? If I need it." There was a pause. "You are always needed." Your heart escaped, but he didn't look up, just kept eating. Later that night, as you walked down the hallway toward your room, you paused outside his office door. You heard voice, his and a woman curious. You stay back. His office was silently as the contract ended in 5 months. Said a female voice, his assistant, Seo Minjin, "Are you still going through with it?" The voice came low, almost pained. "I don't think she will renew it." Minjin signed. "You care about her, don't you?" A beat, then his voice again flat, this time. "She always smiling with that guy Jingu. I saw them at the dinner last week. They laugh like old lovers. So you are letting her go. It's the right thing to do, even if it hurts, especially if it's hurt." You breathe hit. You back away from the door, trying to steady your pulse. And he thought you were in love with someone else. You stumble into your room, closing the door behind you as quietly as possible. Tear burn your vision as your knee hit the capture floor. The aching in your chest was sudden and cruel. Like a betrayal you never saw coming. He didn't love you, he never did, and now he was going to let you go. The next morning arrived too brightly for your broken heart. You stood in front of the mirror, brushing through your hair slowly, your eyes dull and floppy from the night before. You hadn't slept. You couldn't think what from the office replaying in your mind like a hurting lullaby. She always smiling with that guy Jinwoo. They laugh like old lovers. It's the right thing to do, especially if it hurts. He made up his mind and you made up yours. If he wanted a divorce, then fine, you wouldn't stop him. But this time you would stop yourself from hoping. You step out of your room, your face composed every trace of emotion behind your perfectly practiced expression. Taeyong was already at dining table. He glared up and for a moment, just a moment, his expression softened, his eyes lingering on your face longer than usual. Maybe he noticed how quiet you were, how you didn't greet him with your usual cheery good morning, but he said nothing, neither did you. At work, your mind was elsewhere. You sat in the break room staring at your untouched tea, your co-worker and childhood best friend Jinwoo slide into the seat across from you. Hey, he said, nodding. Your elbow, where that sunshine energy? Did Taeyong finally tire you out? You blink out of your thought and gave a hollow laugh, something like that. Jinwoo tilted his head, concern replacing his teasing. You okay? You nodded too quietly, just tired. Jinwoo, you know I am here, right? Always have been, always will be. You smile faintly, I know. From the hallway outside at the tall figure lingering by the vending machine, Taeyong, he hadn't mean to eye drop, but when he came to pick you up like he always did, seeing you laughing with Jinwoo, your hand resting lightly on his arm, your voice softer than you ever used with him. The word emerged louder in Taeyong's chest than they should have. He stepped back quietly and turned away before either of you noticed. You didn't see the way his hand clenching. You didn't see the storm in his eyes. That night he came home late. You didn't wait for him. You left dinner on the table and went to bed early. It was your new routine. Distance, detachment. You would not embarrass yourself by clinging to a man who was already preparing to raise you from his life. Taeyong entered the quiet house and sat in front of untouched food. For the first time in a week, he noticed how lonely the house felt, how empty the silence was, without your voice filling the air. He stood outside your bedroom door for a while, unsure, his hand raised to knock, but he didn't. Inside you lay with your back to the door, your eyes open in the dark, waiting, hoping, but he never knocked. In his own room, Taeyong stared at the ceiling, his heart heavy. She looked so peaceful around him. Maybe she never needed me to begin with. He thought he was doing the right thing, letting you go, setting you free, but it never occurred to him that the only reason you smile so much around others was because he never gave you a reason to smile around him. The day passed like hollow Enosh, each one quieter than the last. Taeyong had never been the talkative one in your marriage, but now your mute presence unsettled him more than any argument ever could. You still moved through the house like a gentle breeze, sitting at the table, folding the laundry, turning off lights behind him, but you no longer looked at him, not really, and that silence was beginning to drive him mad. One evening, Taeyong returned home earlier than expected. He lost his tie as he walked through the front door, surprised to find the light dim at the aroma of home-cooked food floating in the air. You were planting dinner on the table. He watched you from the hallway for a long second, your hair tied up messily, your face calm but unreadable. There was no smile. You didn't notice him at first, not until he quietly stepped forward and said, You didn't have to cook. You didn't meet his eyes as you replied softly, "It's already ready." He wanted to say more. He wanted to ask, "Are you okay? Are you mad at me? Do you still want us?" But he sat across from you and you both ate in silence. Halfway through the meal, he cleared his throat. "Your friend Jinbu is staying in town long." You pause for mid-air. You blink slowly, then reply without looking up, "I don't know why. Just asking." You nodded, but your face remained distant and your heart cracked a little more.